Hey, welcome everyone. This is Mike from ZoZoStockWatch.com, and this is going to be your Let's Get Ready for the week ahead for the week of August 13th through the 17th. Stocks fell on Friday out of concerns over Turkey's economy, Trump pushing up sanctions on Turkey. The Dow Jones stocks fell down about 196 points on Friday. Volatility showed up on Friday. The VIX was up. We'll go more into that in a moment. We had news with Tesla this week. Musk wanted to take Tesla private. He tweeted that out, and then the SEC is broadening its investigation on Tesla and those tweets by Elon Musk. So that made Tesla interesting the week that passed. 91% of earnings are complete for the fourth quarter. 79% have been a beat on earnings strength in U.S. companies. So 91% have reported and about 79% have beat. We still do have earnings coming up this week. We'll get more into that in the video. Tariff talks continue with Mexico and the USA, Canada and the USA, China and Trump. The rhetoric continues for the week ahead. But for Friday, the big story was Turkey. So Turkey for the day on Friday dropped 14.5% for Turkey for the week. It was down almost 21% on TUR, the ETF for Turkey. On Friday, the SMH dropped about 2.35%. The XLB dropped 1.45%. The XHB dropped 1.28%. The banks were down. The TLT was moving up, and as the TLT moves up, rates move down, so the banks took a little bit of a hit. Also, the European banks were down going into the open on Friday, so that made a little bit of selling happen in the American banks, the U.S. banks. The IYR was down about 1%, XLI down, as you can see, straight down the board here. Things were pretty much to the red side. Now, to the positive side, though, like I said, volatility was back on Friday. The VIX jumped up almost 17% on the VIX. For the week, though, the VIX was up 13%. So a little bit of volatility coming back into play. Oil was up on Friday, 1.44%. Light sweet crude oil closed on Friday at $67.63 per barrel, up from 66.81 cents on the barrel from Thursday. OIH was up slightly, 1.15% for Friday. XOP, oil exploration, was also up 1%. Like I said, TLT was moving up. Let's go ahead and look at some of the charts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the VIX. So we had the VIX getting some volume, pushing up. Still a lot of work to do here. If we look at it on the weekly chart, still below all the fast-moving averages on the weekly chart. Not a huge spike up on Friday, but a little bit of a move up. Had about a 10 handle on the VIX, and now we're back up to about a 13 handle on the VIX. Let's go ahead and take a look at oil for the week. All right, so oil coming back, holding above or right around the 10 SMA on the weekly chart. We'll look at it on the daily chart also, holding around the 50 SMA on USO oil. Light sweet crude oil still below that $70 barrel mark, still below the 50 SMA on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, still below the 10 SMA here on the weekly chart, but trying to hold the bottom of this range, all right, this upward channel range. So oil is trying to hold that. And also on the weekly chart here, we are holding the 34 SMA thus far. We held it back here, and now we're kind of holding it here. And we're holding above $65 a barrel. So everybody's watching that $65 a barrel on oil. Like we said, the TLT was moving up on Friday. So as the TLT moves up, interest rates move down, and that's usually not a good sign for the banks. Now, the next meeting for the for the FOMC, the Federal Reserve, is going to be in September, and then they have a meeting in December. So 2 more meetings for possible rate increases for the months ahead. So we'll have to pay attention to that coming up. Now, as far as the IWM, as you can see, I have Bollinger Bands on my daily chart this week. As you can see here, we're kind of in this tightening range here on the Bollinger Bands. We've been kind of bouncing up to the top of the band, then pulling back, bounced up to the top of the band, pulled back. Now we've come from the bottom of the band to about the middle of the band around that 20 SMA. So we'll see as we tighten up, are we going to drop back down, or we're going to push up and over this 170 area on the IWM. Let's take a look at the SPY. The SPY rolling over a little bit. Now we had one, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 days up in a row on the SPY. A little bit of a give back here. Now the one thing is though, we are below the 5 SMA on the daily chart, and we are right about the 10 SMA on the daily chart for the SPY. We're still watching that 280 area on the SPY. All right, that 280 area will be big if we break down below the 20 SMA here. 20 SMA for the SPY is 282.16, and we closed at 283.16. So keep an eye on that 282.16 area, the 20 SMA off the daily chart. Let's go and take a look at the intraday action of the SPY real fast. So on Friday, right, the market opened, and they actually tried to push us up when the market opened. As you can see here, this is the pre-market. All right, I start getting trading on these charts at around 4:05 a.m. So as you see in the pre-market, we were kind of back and forthing here, trying to break up above this yellow line, the 284 area. Then on the open, right, we started pushing up. We came up to about, we'll call it 284 again, and then they sold us off. Dip buyers showed up again. Now this blue line you see here is at 283.20, which is about the 10 SMA off the daily chart. So they tried to hang us around the 283.20 spot. They pushed us up. We tested it again. Finally, we moved up again up until about 11:40 a.m. Eastern time, and then after that we sold off. We broke through that 10 SMA market lows here of around 282.36. So we got down close to that 20 SMA. They bounced us off of that, pushed us back up, and then we moved up into the close, and then in the after hours we kind of moved up on Friday on the SPY. So that's some of your action in the SPY. Let's go and take a look at the we'll take a look at the IBB real fast, just so we have an idea of what's going on with these markets. The IBB is the biotech fund, right? Couldn't get above the 118 level, also below the 5 EMA. The IWC is the micro caps, trying to get back above the 50 SMA, but stalled out there on Friday on the IWC. The micro caps and down, breaking below the 50 SMA. The biotechs, the mid cap biotechs, also below the 50 SMA, and kind of starting to break down below the 10 SMA here on the XBI. As far as the Qs, we'll take a look at that. Currently on the daily chart, we're below the 5 SMA, but holding above the 10 SMA. If we switch over to the weekly chart, we've been kind of grinding up, holding that 10 SMA on the QQQ. Let's look at the SPY real fast on the weekly. Take a look at that. So the SPY has been grinding up. Like I said, we've been having good weeks in a row, and still holding above the 10 SMA on the SPY. So overall, yes, we do have some volatility back. Not a lot of volatility, even though Friday the VIX was up 17%. We did have some selling and worries over global risk now with Turkey and the economy and tariffs still hanging over the market. We got crazy CEOs out there tweeting about going private. we'll have to see how that's going to play out. But like I said, 91% of the companies have reported earnings, 79% have beat. So we'll see what's going to happen for the week ahead. So let's go ahead and take a look at some things that are setting up for the week ahead. So for the week ahead, it's pretty straightforward as far as the macro information. Nothing major coming out. This courtesy of the trade exchange. This is a nifty calendar that they put out each week. So you see, we do have company earnings. We'll get more into that in a moment. A biotech news coming out for VRTX on Thursday, for BMY designated in the purple, biotechs, and then pretty much straightforward as far as the macro information coming out for the week ahead, the 13th through the 17th. For earnings coming out, we do still have a little bit of a busy week coming up. We have Cisco, the food service, SYY, the symbol there. JKS Solar, 9, an oil company reporting earnings before the bell. This courtesy of Earnings Whisper. So you do have some earnings coming out on Monday, 9, JKS, SYY. As far as after the close, Switch, WCH will be reporting earnings after the close on Monday. And then after that, for the week ahead, we have Home Depot, HD symbol there, before the bell on Tuesday. We also have Canadian Solar, CSIQ, and Tapestry will be reporting earnings before the bell on Tuesday. After, we have Cree, we have Agilent Technologies, some of the bigger names there, and then more retailers coming up Wednesday. We have before the bell Macy's, letter M, Cisco, CSCO. So we have Cisco, the food company, before, and then after the close on Wednesday, Cisco, the technology company, CSCO. Walmart reports earnings before the bell on Thursday. JD.com reports earnings before the bell on Thursday. JCPenney, 58.com, Chinese company. Nvidia, big day for the semiconductor names here. Thursday after the bell. Nvidia, NVDA, Applied Materials, Nordstrom will be reporting. And then Friday before the open, we have John Deere, DE symbol there. So some big names coming out for the week ahead, and that once again courtesy of Earnings Whispers. So after the bell, we did have some news from FOLD. Had some news that came out, this courtesy of the trade exchange built for traders by traders. Fold, FDA approves Galafold for the treatment of certain adult patients with Fabry disease. So that news came out from Fold. It was halted, reopened. I'll show you that chart in a second. ALNY and Fold both opened up at 4:35 from their halts. HMNY Movie Pass now offering users to choose between 2 movies a day. So HMNY from the New York Post there from Trade Exchange. Donald Trump tweeting out over the weekend, deal with Mexico is coming along nicely. All right, and that's a President Trump tweet. A lot of articles on Tesla coming out over the weekend. Tesla's unreal stock price. Let's see. Tesla has shown Saudis have shown no interest in financing for Tesla buyout. Tesla short seller sues Elon Musk. So that coming out over the weekend. And then Google had some news from the New York Times. The flourishing business of fake YouTube views, and that might hit Google on Monday, that from the New York Times. So this news all courtesy of the trade exchange for the news over the weekend. So let's go ahead and take a look at the best stocks for the week. Before the news came out on Friday on Fold, once again they were granted approval from the FDA on one of their drugs. So FOLD, when it opened up, it popped up to 16.25. For the week it was up 8% already. So now it's going to trade even higher come Monday. So Fold was one of the best stocks for the week. We had PTGX was up 49% for the week. Now PTGX, they had a positive phase 2 news for PT, 12% for the week. They had an agreement with Pfizer this week. Stock is up 6%. Urban had a very good week, up 8% for the week. KORS with earnings beat this week, up 13% for the week on cores. Yelp caught a lot of shorts leaning the wrong way, up 30% for the week after their earnings report. 3D Systems, Triple D, 54, 55% for the week as shorts got caught in this one and on their earnings gain, and that brought SSYS, another 3D printing stock. This one gained 10% for the week. OAS was up on their earnings, and Oil Name up 6% for the week. M&K also had earnings the past week, 29% gainer for the week. ZIOP, they made some changes in their board of director, beaten down stock, up 27% for the week. Nice volume came into the stock for the week on ZIOP. SBBP, they had their phase 3 achieved a statistical significance of its primary endpoint for SBBP. So good news there for their phase 3, up 31% for the week and popping up here on the weekly chart. A lot of volume came into SBBP for the week. ENDP, second quarter earnings were released, and that stock drove up 28% for the week. INSY had an agreement with the Department of Justice to settle a civil and criminal investigation. INSY popped 18-19% for the week. Aluminum, Alcoa Aluminum AA moved up 5%, most of it on Friday. Had an unusual call activity in Alcoa. Some other stocks that had earnings this week, TTD had big earnings, stock up 47% for the week on TTD. MTCH popped for the week on their earnings, up 34%. TWLO also moved up on their earnings, up 25% for the week. And then lastly, best stocks for the week was VSI, having a nice move up 37% for the week. So that's some of your best stocks for the week. Some of your worst stocks for the week, we had ARLZ. They filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, stock down 79% for the week. The ETFs of Turkey were down 21%. Russia also, with Trump raising the sanctions on Russia also. That ETF dropped 8% for the week. OVID had negative phase 2 news. The placebo group was just as good on OVID, so that stock dropped 35%. Never want to hear that the placebo group did just as well as their drug, and that was on phase 2 for OVID. AMPE, they had a conference call on Tuesday. And the FDA wanted additional trial for one of their drugs, AMPE, so that stock dropped 79% for the week. INSM, this stock dropped 15% for the week. GEMP, they terminated their phase 2, so that stock dropped 76% for the week. BLPH, they had a negative phase 3, and it was stopped for futility. So PLBH, that stock dropped 73%. So once again, biotechs can be very dangerous. ONCE, stock dropped 21% for the week. Less effective results. And also they had an earnings release. So one of their products had less effective results on ONCE. GPRO, which was strong last week, then they gave it back. Drops after last week's gains. Stock down 15% for the week. CTXR, they did an offering. Stock dropped 35% for the week. Baidu, the China stocks getting hit, down 7% for the week on Baidu. LJPC, disappointing earnings for the second quarter here. Stock dropped 32% for the week. X was down. Steel stocks were down 7% on X. Cliff dropped 5% for the week. SCHN, Schnitzer Steel, also dropped 6% for the week. Oxy, they had an earnings miss. This stock dropped 4%. It's an oil stock. Fell right down to about the 34 SMA. Buyers stepped up around that 75 area on OXY. STX, they got downgraded to a sell at Goldman Sachs. The stock dropped 6% for the week. WDC also moved down in sympathy, down about 5%. 5% for the week. And that's some of your worst stocks for the week. We'll go into a couple of more things. Part here of the Qs. We are holding above the 10 SMA. Not a lot of technical damage to the Qs yet. All right, on the weekly charts, names like Amazon still holding strong. Google, we'll see how they do Monday with that article coming out from the New York Times, holding up okay around the 20 SMA on the weekly chart. We haven't even mentioned that one. Holding the 10 SMA here on the weekly chart, big move up in Apple and holding those gains from earnings. Warren Buffett in the name. So Apple holding and still one of the leaders there in Apple. All right, everybody. So I'm going to be doing another video, stocks to watch video, that will be out in a little while.